This is Dr. Fairming coming at you today, and I got a special guest with me, Doctor of PT, a former college and high school basketball player, someone who's making a real change in the basketball world. And I came across his stuff on socials, and I was like, I want to connect with Rock the Doc, aka Kennedy Chakucha. Kennedy, what's good? How are you?
I appreciate you. Appreciate you. I'm solid. How about yourself?
I'm good as well. Can't complain. I just want to start it off with where your passion for basketball came from and how that kind of blossomed over the years.
Yeah. Honestly, it's like I feel like the game found me in a way, right? Like I growing up in a Nigerian household, you get four options. It's doctor, lawyer, engineer, or failure. You know what I'm saying? Pick one. Um, so my parents weren't even really super duper into me playing sports. But of course, I was tall growing up. So they're like, yo, we're playing basketball. I kind of grabbed, I remember, I think it was like '01, seeing AI versus the Lakers in the finals. Begged my dad for a basketball court in the front yard. And then it became just something that, like, after I got, get my schoolwork done, because it always came first with them.
Mhm.
Get the schoolwork done, but it would really be a motivation for me to get my schoolwork done. It was like, the quicker I do this, the quicker I could go shoot in the front yard. Okay, great. So let's do it. And then I'll be the type of kid that anybody who walks down my block, yo, come play me one on one. I ain't care who he was. It could be the mail lady. Come play me one on one. So then I just, I just kind of fell in love with it. Like I heard one time or a couple times, hey, you're tall, you should play basketball. You should play basketball. And it just so happened that once I picked it up, I'm like, okay, this is, I like this
Mhm.
for sure.
I like it. I like it. And when did the game start getting like serious and like competitive for you? Like when did that switch come from it being fun to be like, oh, I could actually take this somewhere else?
um, I would definitely say probably my junior year of high school. Because it's not, I wasn't, no child prodigy or nothing. Didn't really play in any camps. By the time my junior year came, I had played some local AU ball with some people from my high school team, which, we're super scrappy. Like but, we're a local team, right? So we'd probably, travel 30 minutes away, an hour away. We had a high school game against a ranked team. And since, we had a pretty tight knit group, we pulled off a pretty good win. And there just happened to be a scout in the stands who was connected with this AAU team out in Pennsylvania, the PA players. So they reach out to me, or they reach out to my coach, who then lets me know, like, hey, you got this opportunity to go play with this team. And at first, I'm like, I'm gonna leave my boys? No chance. Like, I'm not doing that. There's no way that's happening. These are my guys. But my coach, like, really, he's like, no, listen, like, this is the type of, you know what I mean? And first practice was inside of my coach's house. You know what I mean? Like in the basement, because he had a court in the basement. So I'm like, okay, like this is definitely a different vibe, different feel here. Ended up having a great AAU summer. And I think it was one tournament specifically up in Providence. Full disclaimer, I had probably gotten into an argument with my girlfriend at the time, so I was playing with a little extra fire. Um, um, and I ended up walking away from that tournament with a couple of scholarship offers. So probably like that junior year summer was when like things really probably took a turn for sure.
So then you're starting to get some looks. Now, if you're having to look back at it, talk to me about, obviously you have the height, you have the athleticism, but do you feel like that's what helped you get recruited the most, or were there other things that you kind of focused on to help you improve your chances of getting into the schools that you were trying to get to?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you one thing, and this was like a constant throughout my recruitment. Um, Coaches just loved that they did not have to worry about the classroom stuff with me. You know what I mean? Um, because coaches will, get a kid that, um, I wouldn't say wouldn't be the hardest worker in the classroom, but as you go through this system or go through the phases of basketball, you kind of see the guys, the girls who, they're super talented, but they may not have the grades to be eligible to be able to play. And when a coach doesn't have to worry about that with a player, it makes his job a lot easier. So if they're looking at two players who, one may average a little bit more points, but the other one, is not going to fail off in second semester. So those points don't even, make a difference, right? So I would definitely say like the diligence in the classroom just made the recruiting process that much easier because that wasn't even a conversation. Like
Mhm.
we could keep everything strictly basketball, you know what I mean? And I'm somebody who kind of likes to keep the main thing the main thing. Like we won't even got to talk about class. I got that taken care of. Let's keep it basketball.
For sure. And I think that's an important message to bring across because you could have all the skills in the world, but if you're trying to play in college and you don't got grades, you're going to be ineligible. So then you're sitting on the bench and you're not really getting
Mhm.
better. A lot of other things, you can go a lot of different directions if you don't take care of the schoolwork first. So I think that's a great message to send across to all the young hoopers out there who are going to listen to this. Like, take care of your grades. Your grades can take you far. The talent's gonna come. The talent and work ethic will come if you can be on the court. You're only gonna get better by getting on the court. So if you can't play, then you don't have the opportunity to get better, see game reps, see things in live action, and improve over game by game, year by year, season by season. Um,
Absolutely.
what were some of the things like? Let's go like going into your senior year. What were some of the skills? What were some of the things that you were working on to help get you ready for that next level?
Yeah. My senior year was interesting because like I had already I signed early. So I signed my national letter of intent we took a visit in maybe like the first 2 or 3 weeks of September to UMass Lowell, which is the school I ended up going to,
Hmm.
um, or at least spending my first 2 years at. I so like going into senior year, like I didn't feel it was like there was no pressure, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Because like in my mind, I was already in college, right? Like it was almost like senior year was. I mean, from a school standpoint, we took because I went to a technical school, so like we had to take these big exams, and those were taken at the end of junior year. So, like I had already gotten through that. I had got signed a letter of intent. So like my senior year was really more so about like to me, we had a lot of young guys. We had a ton of young guys on the team because the year before we graduated 7 seniors,
Mhm.
and I was the me and this other kid who was well my brother really, who was right behind me. He was a junior at the time. Like we were the only two from that nucleus that stayed like after that big shift. So my senior year was really most about like trying to make sure that we stayed a team as a young like I mean when I mean young nucleus, I mean two of the best players was probably a freshman and a sophomore, you know what I mean, like behind me. So super young team. So to be able to keep that team, the momentum that we created, to be able to keep that team like that was like the big goal, which is what we did. So I felt good about my senior year. Because it was just I felt like I was playing free. You know what I mean? Like I could just do whatever I wanted.
Mhm.
To a certain extent, at least.
So with being one of the older guys your senior year, how did you have to develop some more of that leadership role, like being able to communicate with your teammates and being the guy that people follow? Or was that something that, you kind of had to learn, something that you had naturally or something that you had to learn along the years?
Yeah. So I mean, we could go back to the household. I'm the oldest of four, so
Mm.
whether I liked it or not, being a leader was something that you kind of had to be in certain aspects. But I tend to, from a communication standpoint, though, everybody in the locker room were like we went to war together. You know what I mean? So like we were brothers. So um, it was really more lead by example, and also like I'm not the type of relationship that we had. Like they leaders in their own right. Like there's certain times where they pick me up. Like I'm not like it's I think a leader is not just somebody who knows how to quote unquote lead, but knows how to follow when needed. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, so I felt like that was really my role, just to try to be the thing that everybody needed in that moment, right? Sometimes you need somebody to kick you in your butt and tell you, come on, let's go, kick it into high gear. And sometimes you need somebody like, yo, it's all right. Let me, you know what I mean? Let me walk you through this. And just being able to, I think that year taught me how to listen more. You know what I mean? I think that was the biggest, I think, leadership quality that was needed for sure.
And then, so I think that's a great point. Being able to listen, to hear what people are telling you, and not like respond to respond, but to actually respond like an understanding that you understand what the person is coming at you with, and not taking it some type of way because they're probably telling you something to help you get better, or you're supposed to be in a certain position, or you're supposed to be certain help side and you weren't there. So they're trying to make sure that you get to that spot so that for the betterment of the team. Like it's all for the betterment of the team, and trying to grow as people, grow as men, grow as girls, like just trying to hold people
Yeah.
accountable and build habits that are not just going to apply to the basketball court, but also to like life in general, like life in general.
Right. Yeah.
Now, talk to me about like PT, how you got in PT, and then how you were able to combine PT and your love for hoops together.
Yeah. So I'll say it's a long time coming. Like I said, I went to a technical school, so um, essentially I spent the from freshman year to senior year doing mostly like athletic training type stuff, more so on like the athletic training side. So we would have all the athletes in the school when they needed to get taped, they would come to us, right? If they needed ice, if they needed stretchers, when they needed all that, they came to us. So I kind of had that experience early on with my peers, which made it, natural to be away in a tournament in Massachusetts and taping up my teammates' ankles before I get up in the layup lines. You know what I mean? Um, so then going into undergrad, I went to biology major because at the time, like I was, still considering, okay, maybe medical doctor, maybe sales, maybe like where I still had a couple different things floating around. But then also wanted to learn the body more so from a cellular level, and not just kind of like a macro physical level. So after that, I went through a bunch of injuries. Well, I wouldn't say a bunch of injuries. There are a lot of players that go through a lot of, little nagging injuries, right? Jammed fingers, rolled ankles. So no stranger to the PT office as an athlete, right? But then went through a major one my sophomore year of undergrad that the process was just a little bit different because like, okay, like this isn't just something that, okay, I put my foot in a boot and I'm good in 6 weeks and okay, let's get back to it. It's like, no, you have to be in a CPM machine and you have to let this thing move your leg for 8 hours a day for a month, right? So it really sat me down and really, as a 19-year-old kid, like it took me to a place where, people, you don't even realize especially once you give your life, because at that point, like all I know is basketball, right? Like I'm a 19-year-old kid, a couple hundred miles away from home, playing on a full scholarship. This is the reason why I'm here. So if you take that away, it's like I'm actually trying to find my identity again. Like I don't really even know who I am anymore if I don't got who. So being there from a mental space, and then seeing the process that I was going through from a physical therapy standpoint and kind of really keying into the things that I liked about it, the things that I didn't like about it, and kind of where I did or didn't feel that it met, uh, an athlete's expectations. Definitely pushed me into saying like, okay, in addition to me trying to learn how I could put my body in the best position to not let an injury like this happen again, but then also take that information and give it to a lot of, because I had a lot of friends who was dealing with similar things, or I had to, know a lot of stories of hoopers who go through major injuries and don't really ever come back from it. I was blessed enough to be able to play again, but that's not really the story for everybody. And sometimes that's not because they didn't try hard, it's because they weren't given the right information or
Mhm.
because they weren't, brought down the right path. And that is just something that I can't really like. I don't want that to be a reality for people. You know what I mean? So then physical therapy just became that vehicle for me.
I like it. I like it. You mentioned earlier how when you were going through your injury, you lost some of your identity because at that point you were on a Scully. Um, away from home, like basketball is all you knew at that time. How did you build yourself back up to like find your identity again and then like work to get back? Because I feel like you said, there's sometimes where you get injured and you're not able to make it back, but there's sometimes you do rehab, but you don't feel the same as how you were pre-injury, and like getting that
Hmm.
confidence back. So how did you get that confidence back, and how did you find yourself mentally again to want to play the game and get back to it?
Yeah, for sure. Um, I feel like there's two answers to this. One, the reason why I was able to be able to play again and be able to, go get another full scholarship at another school and be able to go be team captain again, be able to go, do all these different things on the court, was definitely the support system, right? Family, loving parents. We thank God for that. My teammates, right? Because there was a lot of different things. We had like, there was a new coaching staff that came on. So a couple of us got scholarships pulled, like not a lot of that team returned. So a lot of us were in similar situations. So we kind of had each other through, the rest of that season, semester, etc. So just a good support system, and then good relationships with, friends and other schools, having a reputation of being a solid player and a good student, to have another coach be able to say, hey, I also want this guy on my team, blessed for that. But from a confidence standpoint, to be honest with you, I feel like it's still something like when it comes to coming back from an injury and then being in a place where you're really not thinking about it, where you're really not, I still deal with it today. You know what I mean? Like there are still like it's not something like, not that I don't think we found the answer to it, but there's no one answer to it. You know what I mean? Like there'll be times where, because I play in, men's leagues, pro-am leagues, different things like that. And there'll be times to this day where like, I'll just miss a shot. And I'm like, there's no reason why. Like it just felt a little, you know what I mean? Like it'll still come up when you're in a familiar situation to win something, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So like I still deal with it now, right? If I'm being really honest, right? I just have a lot more good days than bad days, right? But there's some days where it's just like, you know what I mean? You can't even really explain it. It's a hard thing to explain, but it's more so about like I guess how quickly you find that happy place and pull yourself out. But it's more so like when they say think less, like just think less. Like I feel like that's like my biggest thing. I tell myself just think less. Like let your body. Like I'm a hooper. Like I've been hooping for a while now. I like muscle memory is really a thing. So it's like think less and do exactly what you just do what you know to do. All right.
Mhm.
That's like probably the best advice I give myself at least.
I like it. Think less, keep it simple, do the things that you know,
Right.
like you've worked your whole life to get to this point, and you gotta trust the work that you put in. That's what I say all the time. I'm like, trust the work you put in. You put in the work, you gotta trust it. And whatever happens, happens, but know you gave it your best, the best effort you could. And if something happens, then you'll be ready to deal with it come when that time comes. And just being adaptable. So now with like
Yeah.
all the people that you work with, and you got rock the dock runs and all that stuff, that like how do you help your hoopers now, the people that you work with now, how do you help them?
Yeah. I offer even if it's just, a story on social showing an article that I broke down a little bit to, talk about how many times you should be jumping per week. Or um, I've developed this system with these wristbands called Rock the Wristbands, these guys right here. And it's really just a way for me to deliver a home exercise program, right? So with the wristband, you can tap your phone to your wrist and a workout pops up. A workout that I create that, we talked about. I probably had a call with you. I probably know you personally. We probably had a session before. So I have an idea of like some of the things that we tested, some of the things that we talked about. And then I have just a little bank of exercises that address those very things. So it's easy for me to just, different tiers for different things that people are looking for. But so that's like a kind of way to stay connected. I have a slight passion for technology and emerging technology. So that's kind of like me dipping my toe into the water there. Um, but on social, I'll give out free weekly exercises, and um, What else? That you mentioned rock runs. That's like an event I did for my birthday that it's turning into more of a recurring thing where it's essentially just like you're gonna go play open gym hoops. I know a lot of hoopers who are gonna go play open gym every week anyway. Why not enhance that experience, right? So it just starts with me providing them with like a 30-minute mobility session, right? Just giving different tips, tricks, tests, exercises, things that they may not have ever been exposed to. Um, to help specifically for basketball players when we talk about that decrease in the risk of injury, right? And then we just play, right? I DJ a little bit too, so live music, keep the energy up. And then that's really just kind of like it's like a passion project, if you will, because like every time I do one, it's like, okay, I'm trying to like, how can I give more value? How can I give more value? How can I give more value? I haven't dropped this yet, so this is an exclusive, but I'm giving away some Sixers tickets for this next one. Can't
Oh,
wait for that. The guys don't know yet because that's coming up in a week. But and I mean, like they like row 7 tickets. They're not bad, so
okay.
somebody's gonna be happy. You know what I mean? But just literally trying to like, got like you're gonna go. Not I don't want to say reward people for doing like healthy things, but like making those things more fun, valuable, accessible. Just continuing to just give value to the athletes.
Oh, I really like that. I really like that. I didn't know. I seen you post about the wristbands, but I was like, I don't know how they work. But the fact that you can tap your phone and
Yeah,
workouts or whatever,
yeah,
that's real dope. That's real dope. And the fact that
yeah.
I feel like the fact that you are just like giving and not expecting anything in return, but still hosting a place where people can come through and have a good time and still enjoy and run around and play the game that they love. I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome. Like I
Wow,
seen your stuff on
appreciate you.
TikTok and I was like, oh, that's dope. Like, that's how I came to find out about you. And I was like, oh, what he's doing is cool. Like I want to tap into that and
Mhm.
see if I can learn more. So kudos to you, more
Yeah,
props
I
to you.
appreciate you.
Of course, of course. I got like two more questions left.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We got talk to me.
I gotcha. We talk about injury prevention all the time, and you'll see posts about like bulletproofing your ankles or bulletproofing your shoulder or stop low back pain with these three exercises. When it just
Yeah.
comes to I'm not gonna use the word prevention. Let's say like reduction of risks, let's say. What are
Yeah,
things that
yeah,
you feel like young hoopers don't do enough to reduce their injury risk?
absolutely. And I love that you prefaced it that way. It's a very interesting thing because it's like I think in our profession we kind of like there's like this, I don't want to call it a stigma, but like you not that you have to be right, or I don't know how I want to say it, but I also will, I don't like using injury prevention. But then there's another side to it where it's like that's the thing that this person is looking for. You know what I'm saying? So there's always like that meet the person where you will. Because if I'm preaching this, the message might just miss them altogether, and
Mm.
that's not the point, right? But if you get them and then like so, anyways, injury prevention, injury risk reduction, because you can never prevent injuries. If anybody ever tells you you can prevent an injury from happening, they're lying to you. It's not possible. Um, Disclaimer. But risk reduction for sure. I always talk. I mean, the ankles are huge, and it's low hanging fruit, right? Like especially for hoopers. Like the I'm sure you've probably seen the posts about different joint angles. You see the post of like Michael Jordan when he's low and he's driving past somebody, the type of shin angles that you're getting into. Um, but less or even past that, what are the springs that you're landing on, right, when you're coming down from a jump? How are you being able to load from a good position when you're going up for a rebound or going up for a block? Like ankle strength and mobility like cannot be understated when it comes to basketball players, right? We know the dreaded Achilles injury, which honestly is still kind of when it happens like that with no reason, it's still pretty much a mystery. It's just too much force at one time in one position, and it went right. But that keeping good ankles, strong, mobile ankles are kind of our best defense against that. Best defense against keeping or prevent decreasing the risk of that happening. Right. Um, So I would definitely say like the first and foremost ankles, ankle mobility, ankle strength. Like how mobile are your ankles? Can you get your knees above your toes? Can you get your knees over your toes? Different things like that. Because if you're trying to play basketball and you can't do that, it's like now that means that because you're probably going to want to get strong for basketball too. That means that your squats may look a little bit funky, which means then you might be, now we're talking knees, now we're talking hips, now everything up the chain gets affected. So I would always start with the ankles.
For sure. No, I like that. And especially if those are the things, your feet are the things that touch the ground every time. You're running, you're jumping,
Every time.
like you fall, you get back up, like your feet are on the ground all the time, leaving the ground. So being able to absorb the force and then create it, I think is imperative. I've seen a lot of people, you put people on like a single leg calf raise and have them go up on the right and up on the left and get gassed at like 12. I'm like, like, bro, we
And I'm
supposed
like, are you about to play where?
to.
No chance.
I was like, yo, like we figure out ways to adapt, but I'm like, if we can kind of increase the capacity or increase the tolerance of the body's ability to withstand force and then produce it, then I think we start trending in the right direction of reducing injury risk. Um,
Exactly.
so yeah.
Exactly. And then one more thing there too, and this is a double-edged sword here, but when it comes to recovery tools, this is a double-edged sword here, and I think you know where I'm going. It's there's a difference between I use my massage gun before I go play because it makes me feel good, it makes me feel loose, and my quads are hurting, so I'm going to do nothing but use my massage gun. You know what I mean? Like to prep for like whatever makes you feel good before you play, absolutely do it. You know what I mean? Because if your brain's in a better place, mindset in a better place, absolutely do it. But don't fall for a lot of the recovery tool marketing. It's great marketing, absolutely. Um, the research behind a lot of these things is a little tough. At the end of the day, if it makes you feel better, by all means do it. It's not if it's not going to cause any harm. But um, if I'm trying to get to California, I'm not going to walk, right? Like you're taking the long way. You're taking the extremely long way, right? So yeah, that's the other big piece. Just be smart about the recovery stuff.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot. I feel like you hear about like people who sprain their ankles, which is something you see a lot in basketball, and then like they rest for 2, 3 weeks and then they start to go back to playing again, and they're like, "Oh, my ankle still hurts." And I'm like, "Yo, you've been sitting down for the last 3 weeks. You haven't run, you haven't jumped, you haven't walked like that, and then you expect to be able to go back to how you were playing before. Like, no, you gotta do some of the work beforehand to build your tissues back up to be able to handle that kind of stress and that kind of load.
But I've been icing and elevating. It should be fixed
Yeah, it should be, but you haven't been. No,
now.
some of the
You
adaptations
know what
go
I
quick,
mean?
man. They go quick. You gotta train it. You gotta train it.
You know what I mean? That's what it's simple. If you don't use it, you lose it. You know what I mean? Like it's actually it's complicated, but it's simple at the same
Dude, couldn't have said it better. My last thing,
time.
strength and conditioning. Like, I feel like there's more of a now that basketball is more of a year-round thing. Kids are playing a lot more AAU, high school, club teams, fall. There's a lot of basketball going on. How does
Mhm.
and I know there's more research about like trying to play more sports and trying to increase the variability and movements and not stressing the same tissues, especially if someone's growing. But if someone is not going, if someone wants to play basketball year round, like how does strength and conditioning and how does getting strong help translate over to the basketball court? Like, why is it important?
Oh, oh man. It's like if you don't have the actual resilience in the body, like what's a good example? I use this with a lot of my marathon runners, right? The only thing that's going to make you a better runner is running. The only thing that's going to make you a better basketball player is playing basketball. Absolutely, right? If you want to be a good basketball player for 30 minutes and never play again, by all means, that's up to you. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be able to run for a mile, absolutely. But the only way to be able to do that for a sustained amount of time over and over and over again is to build up strength, is to build up the resilience, build up mobility, build up your ability to recover. Like we said, throwing stress at the tissues and allowing them to adapt. Our bodies are very adaptive, right? But without actually throwing the stress at the body, it's not going to get stronger. It's like me looking at my bicep and like expecting it to just, get stronger without actually curling over and over and over again. You know what I mean? So like there are a lot of different positions in basketball that require certain types of strength. But then there are certain types of strength that's required from your tissues to be able to handle the weight of your body coming down onto your ankles or your knees or your hips, et cetera, et cetera. So without exposing the body to those things in a controlled environment in a weight room, and then adapting that to some of the more dynamic things, right, in a safe manner, because basketball is an extremely unpredictable sport. Everything we says about how strong the ankle can be, how strong, how mobile it can be, goes out the window if you land on somebody's foot, right? Like it doesn't matter. But because that ankle was more mobile and more stronger in the first place, that recovery time that was going to be 8 months, right, is now 4 months, is now 2 months, is now, right? The stronger you go in, the stronger you go out. So there's so many different ways of looking at it.
Absolutely. And I think there's like misconceptions that, strength training is bad and young kids shouldn't do it because it's going to stunt your growth. That's what my pops used to tell me. No, that's not what he used to tell. That's why I used to tell my pops, because he used to have me do push-ups all the
Yeah.
time. And I'm like, man, it's going to mess up my jump shot. I can't, I don't want to lift like that. But then you look back and you're like, all right, if you grade it and you slowly increase your intensity over time, you get better at movements. You start to understand, all right, I can get into these positions. This is feeling easier now. I got to go up. Over time, if you take a 2, 3, 4 year approach, you're going to see a big difference from when you first started to where you're at now. But if you're trying to, like, if you're just going in the gym and doing whatever and weights are all over the place and your form is bad and that's an injury waiting to happen, but it's also probably not going to make you too receptive to wanting to train and improve your body. So I think just trying to reiterate the fact that the weight room is important, but doing it in a safe manner, like you said, and gradually building it up over time, making sure that you have people around you that can coach movement and can walk you through things, and making sure that you're doing the right stuff for your body and your game specifically, then I think that's important to touch on now, because it's not important just for now, but it's important 20, 30, 40, 50 years down the line too, when you're a lot older. So training and conditioning is important. Go train, go do all that stuff. Just doing it in a safe way and have people that you trust to lead you through it. And I think you'll be miles ahead of where you were yesterday.
Yeah, and I gotta just listen to two doctors saying it. It's listen to Steph Curry. Like when you remember when Steph, I mean, come on, the ankles of quote unquote glass, right? There's so many different examples of, sports. It's just, okay, what did they do? Got in the weight room. Michael Jordan used to get beat up by the Pistons. What did they say he did? Got in the weight room. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the proof is in the pudding.
Yep. But Steph didn't make that transformation in 1 year. It's 14 years in the league, and
exactly
now it's starting to now you see the work now, but he didn't just start out this strong. He had to work his way up to it. Now look, if he hadn't stopped in there, we don't know if we know this Steph Curry now. He might not be in the league right now.
Imagine if Steph just iced and elevated. It'd have been over. Ankles, he'd have been out of there. I'm telling you, he'd have been out of there. We got to get people, but that's the thing. Like, those guys are getting the best type of information from the highest level, from the, you know what I'm saying? But it's, when you look at it, it's all what people got to realize is, like, as a profession, like, that there's not that there's no difference. Like, there's difference in facilities, there's different in equipment, there's difference in the type of athletes that go in, absolutely. But the information about the body is the same. You know what I'm saying? The information, we all have access to the same information, the same studies, the same, education, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, we're trying to take the things that these guys are learning in their individual sessions that they're paying thousands of dollars for, and give them to people for free. You know what I mean? Like, the information is here. So, yeah.
So if people have questions, if people want to learn more about you and what you offer, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm probably most active on IG, Instagram for real. Rock the Doc, right? ROCKTHEDOC with a underscore. Rock the Doc. Shoot me a DM if you ever have any questions. Um, and yeah.
Well, look, and y'all see the merch on him that he's wearing right now. So there's a spelling for you. It's clean. But I just want to say thank you
Yes,
for
sir.
taking the time to come and chat with us. And hopefully whoever watches finds value from it. And please don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions. And then we'll catch you on the next chat. Peace.
Absolutely.
Well, how do I no, I gotta stop this recording.
That's got to be in a